Oh, there we go. I always have to wait for the lady. It's like recording in progress. Right. Okay. So we are live, except we're not live, but it's going to go onto the YouTube. So this is Lexi, beautiful Lexi, and she's going to share a little bit about her journey with my support and specifically our package of 4 sessions that she got at the start of this year. So yeah, I'm just going to let Lexi take over because a little bit like when Marjorie shared the other day, Lexi's got about 20 minutes, so but that's the perfect time. So take it away.
So I got the Create Your Vision package, which is the 4 sessions. It started off with kind of talking about where I was and kind of what I wanted to accomplish. And one of the first sessions was talking about cutting unhealthy ties and relationships. And once that happened, a lot of things started to unfold, and that was surprisingly the first session. So everything started to be kind of like crazy after that, everything wild. And I asked to throw in kind of a skin healing because at that point in time, I was going through Accutane for my skin, and it was just making everything worse. And I stopped taking that. And within, I don't know, I would say a month, my skin cleared up a lot more than I thought it ever would with medications or topical creams or anything like that from a dermatologist or a skin esthetician, which was really crazy. I don't know if Claire posted my update pictures or progress.
You literally just reminded me because it was like because that's it. You just mentioned I wouldn't because I'm not going to try and talk too much because I think with Pammy I did, but yeah, just on a nutshell, you just mentioned that at the end of that first session. I said, oh, I'll just pray about it now, and then it was literally the next again day. You were like, oh, it's starting to clean up, and then you said you're so good with stuff like that that you sent me updates, but you've just reminded me. No, so I can. So that's so exciting. I can post them now. So yeah, I'll do that. I'll need to write that down.
So yeah, with the skin healing, I did send some updates of day 1 or week 1. Can't remember how I labeled it, but my skin's still doing really well. So then the second session that I did after the first one of cutting ties and the skin stuff, the cutting ties, like I said, everything started unraveling really fast. And that is when I had really bad news about my job that I had. And it felt like a really big tower moment for me, but I couldn't see the whole big perspective of things that this is happening for a reason. Because, you know, when devastating stuff happens, we're like, oh my God, and then we go in tunnel vision. But Claire really helped me see that this was happening for a bigger reason, for a bigger purpose of mine. And then we started talking about manifesting dream careers. And during that session is when we kind of talked about being able to, when we're gathering things that we want to bring into our life, we clear things in the physical. So I started learning how to set a timer for myself to clean. And when things started being more clean in my house, setting timers and kind of like making a routine like that, I noticed I got my dream job that I've wanted since, I don't know, I'm going to say like 16, 17 years old. And to come to find out that this person wanted me to work with them anyways. And I didn't, this was all like over my head. Like I was in such tunnel vision and I wouldn't say depression, but pretty upset about what happened with losing after cutting the cords. But it's been a couple months now. And now looking back, I'm like, yeah, that definitely happened for a reason. And I was glad that, you know, the cord cutting happened. And I'm still working on, you know, setting the timer and clearing my space to like manifest and bring more into my life that I'm wanting.
I did say though, like, did you see my face? I was like, wow, because obviously, like, before we chatted for a bit, and I was like, oh God, we can't talk any longer because we wouldn't have time to film it. But that honestly, I'm so honestly, I'm so proud of, like, you know, when I spoke to Marjorie and Pammy as well, but I'm so proud because, like, you didn't say that they rocket, and I was just like, that really does, yeah, that just feels so lovely because I think I keep missing how much my energy clearing and space clearing, like the difference it makes when I teach with it. Because again, I do house clearing in person, but I mostly I do it distantly. Do you mean like I actually, like, whether you want to see it, like higher self, astral travel, and clear this person's space? Because you always say I pop up your dreams. You're one of the people I do it to the most, I think. But it's kind of like, yeah, that's amazing to hear that. Just because so many other people struggle with similar things to myself, like cluttered, or they'll start here, or where do I start, and just overwhelmed. But no, I love that, because it was like, with that situation, with your job, it was like, I think in the cards, like I'd basically, so like just to secure the other side of it, like I'd said to Lexi, because I didn't, I don't know this guy or anything, but I'd said, like, look, I think he really wants you. So, like, do you mean you think, obviously, because it's like a job? I was like, I think you think that it's something, oh, this would be like too good to be true, this would be a dream. But I was like, I'm being told, like, I think he really wants you to work, like, really wants you to work there. And then it's funny because it's like they're showing me clairvoyantly, although again, like Marjorie, yours is about work. And actually, that's really interesting, because all the people that are speaking this week on the challenge, it's all not so much like, you're all twin flame. It's not so much like the twin flame love stuff. It's all like work stuff, that, which is quite refreshing. I think, like a change for me anyway, and for other people. But it just shows you all the things that slot into place. But it is the kind of thing where, the way that you've spoken and I'm describing it, it does remind me when I'm working with people that are talking about that, and the person that hasn't got, how do you say it, like, as much confidence in themselves. It's kind of like they can't see why on earth the other twin would want them. But it's like that goes, it just shows you it goes for anything. It's just kind of like, until you feel good enough, you can't, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if, like, he wanted you to work for him, you couldn't sort of visualize it. And that's why it does make me really happy to know that yeah, it was a bit kind of scary. You're like, shit, where's my job? Do you know what I mean? Like, but it was like, because you trust me and you were patient, and it was like, look, spirit never takes away, as you know the tower moments. It's like, spirit never takes away anything in your, like, any situation that is not for your highest good. And it's just like, look what came about. But yeah, sorry, I particularly like that when you said about because it's the same with me. When I was actually really focused on my feng shui and space clearing work more than what I'd usually been, a whole load of money came in one week, and it was because I cleared the creativity corner of my kitchen. So, I mean, you know what I mean? If anybody out there is interested in feng shui, I do have a lot of knowledge about it, and I'm trained in it as well. But that's the thing. It's like Marjorie wrote in a review once. I do that many things, like, I don't talk about it all the time. But that really, yeah, I love that. Sorry, well, zip it.
So then the third session was about, we talked about quitting an e-cig, because I'm like, okay, well, if I can, start doing all this stuff in my life and kind of like moving in a place where I want to be, I would like to quit smoking an e-cig. And for reference, for all the fellow e-cig smokers out there, I would go through 1,000 puff, 1,000 puffs to 2,000 puffs, little cartridge in 3 days, which is a lot. Like,
I'm terrible. I know nothing. It's funny because a few of my friends, had and I don't know if my dad still did, or he did. No, I don't think he does anymore. But I don't know what that means. Like, I'm terrible at maths, and is that a lot?
Whoever would like watches this and they're thinking about quitting, and like they have kind of like the same smoking history as me. I went from cigarettes to e-cig, and then the e-cig was the worst thing to like quit ever. And then that was another thing. We didn't do it. It was like the skin thing. It was like talked about and asked about. And then while quitting, I noticed a lot of, I don't even know what you'd call it, like residue, I guess, like leaving my body, and it just felt so gross and nasty. So then on the actual third session that we had, We did a lot of hypnosis for throat chakra stuff. I had that lump in my throat.
Yeah.
And then to come to find out that was associated with like a lot of like panicky and anxiety stuff, which with that third session, I found how to ground myself more and I don't know, kind of like clear that away before it gets like to be a really big problem. You taught me that. So that was a really good thing to learn in the third session. I quit smoking and I haven't touched an e-cig since October 9th. So a little bit over a month, I haven't touched anything and I was a pretty heavy user, so.
And again, like just to stress that to people, again, I like, you know, it's awkward when it's like me. I mean, it spin it through me, but when I facilitated that, because it's like I was amazed because it was like, wait a minute, we haven't even done it. Do you know what I mean? Because we were, it was like, so to really point that out to people, it's like I do personally, like I do feel it is as well because I have such a good like bond with you. You know what I mean? I always say that to people. I really do feel that, and that means it's true. You know, I really do feel, when I say I really do feel, it means it's more true for people that are new. People that are really connected to me and like I can tell if I've loads of past lives or part of the soul family, like you really do respond very well. And to me, that part of it is because when I pray, they get to work quick. I mean, you know that for whenever you've been ill, like you were saying there, or for whenever Moxon's not been well and I've prayed. And I mean, how many times has that happened where like he's had a temperature and you're really worried and I'm like, right, just, you know, chill. And I think I've sent voice notes and stuff and it's like he's running about wild like it never even happened. And you know, it's because that's important for people to know as well, that, you know what I mean, it's I always say that you know, I would you know, it's like I've got a real connection to children and well, he always really responds very well to me like you, but it's kind of like yeah, that is the light codes. That's the light beings working with me. That it's because I was told that years ago by quite a few people, and actually a friend of mine has said that as well, that they were going to start working like scarily fast through me. And I mean that they really do, because it wows me, because I was just like, what? But we haven't. I was going to do because I was going to do a hypnosis script with you, and it's like we just didn't need. I mean that's the thing. So we can try it again with anyone else that is in the same problem, like with smoking or e-cigs. But it would maybe be like you, and I wouldn't even get around to the hypnosis script, and it could get done in one session. I mean, I can't promise it, but that's what happened with you. So, because usually you see, it's important for people to know that. Because if I was just the hypnotherapist, that's meant to be like a course of, I think, like 4 separate sessions. So, do you mean if that was even one? It was just mentioned in one when we'd done something else. So, although people could see it as, oh, you know, investing a lot of money, when you look at it like that way, actually it's saving people shitloads of money. Do you know what I mean? So
right, yeah. So the 4th session that I had, we have a goal of being able to dive into deeper work and going further in the spiritual journey. I am still in a place of not wanting to further, but Claire's still either way if they ready for that. But with the upcoming challenges that you're talking about, I think I would want to dive deeper on like mediumship and everything like that. So there's like a lot that we talked about in the 4th session. It was more like, it wasn't anything crazy. It was like more like clearing, grounding, kind of the same thing that we did before, and talking about money stuff. A lot of like my whole create your vision package was a lot about it. Almost, I compare it to being like having a moldavite crystal. It just kind of cleared it out of the way super fast.
yeah,
That's what it was like. So yeah, I thought of one in the beginning. I thought of doing one thing of just cutting ties, and that was it. And then all of a sudden, like come to the end of the package, it was like, wow, like you have an idea of what you're wanting, but things will come up the way that they're supposed to. Like you can have an idea of what you want when you're booking the session, but you'll find out what you really need instead of wanting when the sessions are happening. So
that, yeah, I just got chills, and that is absolutely nailed it, because that ties in beautifully with what Marjorie said. Because because people will see, if they watch all of them, they'll see Marjorie's first and then they'll see yours and Pammy's. And Marjorie said something similar, that, Marjorie done the therapy package of 8 sessions, and she knew that she would get something that she needed because she'd done sessions with me before and she'd done a package before, but she hadn't kind of jumped to do the therapy, because again, it is different. Although Marjorie had done like a package of 4 and another package of 4, when you commit to the therapy, it's, I'm quite strict about it, that, unless someone was really ill or something, I want people to meet me once a week at the same time, and it's only an hour, because it's about teaching people boundaries. And when people are doing therapy, if people haven't had boundaries, it's really important that I'm teaching them that. And that's where it can be a bit different for people if they've been used to me sitting with folk, which you've had experience of both, like, when I sit with folk for hours and hours and hours, I mean, that's great too. But when it comes to the counselling, I'm very strict about that, that it's, obviously sometimes it might differ, but for the last wee while there, I've been really good at sticking to that. And she said the same. She said something about, you don't know exactly what you're going to get, but it's always what you need. I mean, I think I've said that before, but she literally left a job of I thought it was 22 years, like it was 27 years she was in the same job, and she's delighted to be going. And I think she loved the job though, so that's what I think it's a really good example of, you don't need to hate the job. She didn't hate it or anything, it was just she'd been there too long, and it was kind of like it was time to move on, and so many people wanted her to stay. And again, I can see how that ties in yeah, different things of what I talk about all the time, and actually it ties in really beautifully a video, one of the videos I channeled, I think it might have been the one I released for day 1 of the challenge, where I basically said, and I think this would be helpful for you as well, I could tell it was a point in my journey where my spirit, my higher self, was wanting to be bigger than life. But the people around me, certain friends and that, I could tell, although they might have said all the right things, or most of the time wouldn't have said anything, I was like, oh, that's Claire's thing, and ignored it. It's kind of like I could tell it wasn't, they weren't wanting me to do it. And again, I say this to you all the time, that is quite common. And you do, at the end of the day, you have to choose yourself. It's like people in the twin flame path, you have to choose yourself, and then you choose your twin. Anyway, but no, thank you for sharing, because like I said to Lexi, when she invested in getting that package, I was delighted. I was sitting one day in January and I was like, oh, PayPal's came in. I was like, oh, it's like, oh, fucking hell. I was like, Jesus. And then that I said to you, I was like, oh my God, like, wow. Because I've taught you a lot about money, and I'm just like so proud of you. And I mean, I say that to you all the time. Like, I truly do believe one day you will be helping people and teaching them about manifesting money and mediumship and whatever it is you want to do. Because Lexi is really humble. Again, me and Lexi are very similar in that way of me. Because I know I've got the glitz and glam and the Leo mid-heaven way as well. But I mean, you are brilliant. You're so much better than what you even realise. And it's like, I'm just waiting for you to realise that. You know what I mean? And I'll be right here, you know what I mean, ready to support you. So
thankful that well, another quick thing to add, like, it definitely helps being able to like have these sessions and to talk to you and kind of get like comfort. And it also really helps when my husband is on like the same divine side as you, and it's like it's having like 2 Claires in my life being like telling you this sort of thing. So I think
blunter than me though. He's blunter than me.
Yeah, he's like a blunter you for sure.
Yeah. It was quite like, because didn't like he find, no, I can't remember that. Did he not? I can't remember if he was like, he was watching the YouTube really before you, wasn't he?
Yep.
Like he watched it more, like, do you know what I mean? Like he really resonated with a lot of stuff I was saying.
When I had Facebook, I was watching you on there, and then he found your YouTube channel. I'm like, oh, she has a YouTube channel. So it's like we're both following you at the same time.
And then that's so crazy. I mean, that's so bloody, twin flaming. And it's kind of like it is. It's that kind of, that's what I think is really amazing. And that is particularly amazing. And it shows you how much these are both part of the soul family, because like I wasn't even doing my YouTube very often, you know what I mean? It was more, that was all the Facebook most of the time. So, but yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I really do feel that'll help people. You know, like you say, it's like the other two have given a perspective on individual sessions, and even a wee bit of Pammy mentioned how fun the Clairsentient was. I forgot to get Marjorie to mention because she loved it as well. And although you hadn't done the Clairsentient, you've done loads of psychic development with me, and I'd love to have you on that. God, I'm getting all that stuff coming back to me. I put cacao in my coffee, and it's like it's opening my heart up too much. But yeah, no, thank you for sharing. And you need to get off now?
Yep. Yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
go get my little one.
Well, thank you, because that was brilliant. Because it's I'll stop the record now if you want to, I don't know, if you want to do the awkward wave or something. But yes, thank you so much for sharing. Right, I'll stop record now.